My first area was Clearwater, and that's actually the headquarters of the Scientologist church. And so they own a lot of downtown. They have a bunch of hotels and things down there. And so it was interesting because we'd go knock on people's doors, and the first thing they would say is, "Are you Jehovah's Witnesses?" And we'd say, "No, we're not Jehovah's Witnesses." And then they'd be like, "Are you Scientologists?" Because apparently they proselyte too. And then we say no, and then they just kind of get, they almost got relieved. They'd be like, "Oh, you must be Mormons then. Okay." They'd still, I mean, a lot of times they'd still close the door, but they'd be a little more nice about it, I guess. But people would think we were Scientologists all the time because they wear white shirts. And the only difference really is they have like a little logo on their shirt. But that was interesting for me I'd never really learned about Scientology. And where I was at the hometown of Scientology, I was able to learn a little bit about it. I met quite a few Scientologists, and they were usually pretty nice. They actually were pretty interested in what we had to say. I actually met a few people that just grew up Scientologists. Like, I didn't know it was old enough for that. But yeah, it was definitely different because you go into the MTC and they teach you how to teach people that are from different denominations of Christianity, or maybe even like Islam or something. They'll mention that, but no one ever said anything about preaching to like a Scientologist, and so I didn't even know where to go with it because they don't really have like the whole issue of if there's a God is kind of up in the air. I guess you can believe in any sort of God that you want, and I guess it can be incorporated in there. But really interesting stuff. There's actually some members that were used to be in the Scientologist church, and they had all the books and they would tell us about it, and really interesting stuff. As far as other religions down there, there's a lot of different ones, like ridiculous amounts of churches. One thing like me and my companion would do in this one area that we were in was we'd try to find these ridiculously long names of churches, and we would take pictures of the signs. Because it was like there were so many churches, they were running out of names. They had to just keep adding more and more words. And I think the best one I found was the Holy Ghost Church of God Purchased with His Blood Incorporated. That was, and it was like 3 lines on the sign for the whole name. But yeah, it was actually cool. In my mission, the mission president was really cool about letting us go to other churches and see what they were like. And so I got to go to some of the AME churches, the African Methodist Episcopal churches. Those are really cool. They like to sing a lot, and they have the Black Jesus picture up. And actually, I went to some of their Bible studies, and they actually taught me some cool stuff about the Old Testament I didn't know. So you can really benefit from other perspectives. But another big one down there is just Baptists, just any sort of Baptist. They're there. Actually, in one of my areas, we got to be good friends with a Catholic priest in the area. As we'd go around all these neighborhoods, and we'd knock on people's doors, and they would say, "Hey, we go over at St. Agnes, this big Catholic church, this beautiful church," and like that was pretty much, they would use that as their reason for not talking to us. Oh, we go to a church. And so I decided we're going to go to this church. And so we actually started going every Saturday. We'd go. We did it for about 6 to 8 weeks. But we got to know Father Bob, and he actually took us out to lunch, and we'd talk to him about stuff. And people would ask us questions, after the services, and it was actually pretty cool. So I definitely take advantage of learning about the different denominations that are there, because they're really interesting. I didn't know how to tell Episcopalian from a Baptist or from anything else, really. I think because in our sort of sheltered lifestyle here in Utah, Idaho, all these highly Mormon areas, we don't really get to know those things. So that was something that for me that I really really enjoyed, and I feel like I can relate better to people now of those faiths, and I feel like I could teach people better when I knew what they believed. So